Morning, Mr. Bruhl. It's nice to be talking to you. My favorite Marvel villain. Congrats on congrats on coming back. Before we get started, I got to ask you, people, you were quite the talk of social media on Friday for that dancing scene. How much prep went into Zemo's dancing in Madripoor?
So that was that was born on the day. It was improvised. It wasn't on the page. It just happened. I was standing there in that club, and then I was supposed to do something else. And then I saw the crowd dancing, and I heard the beats, and I thought, like, Zemo needs to let off some steam. He's been sitting in a German prison cell for years. Now he needs to he needs to show his little moves. And I also liked it when I saw the reactions of Sam and Bucky, because they're clearly annoyed. And I thought it's, for Zemo, it's the right tactic. The more noticeable you are, the less suspicion you arouse. So I thought it's all right to do that little dance. And then after I did it, quite frankly, I thought they would cut it out of the show. So I'm very, very happy, especially now hearing that the reactions are so wild, that they kept it in the show. It really makes me very, very happy.
So and I'm glad for that. So Zemo, he had a really interesting arc in Civil War. I think he's one of Marvel's deepest and sort of richest villains. How is he different this time around in Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Well, it was so great, because I enjoyed playing him in Civil War so much, that, getting the call to revisit the character and that world again was already a thrill. But when I received the scripts and the great writing of Spellman's, new version of Zemo, I was even more enthusiastic, because I thought, like, it's great. I will not repeat myself. It won't become redundant, because I'm offered the possibility of show different aspects, new aspects, a completely new attitude and style that I didn't have the chance to explore in Civil War. Just if you think of the iconic look and the mask, that was brilliant, because I missed that in Civil War, to not have at least one scene where I could wear that, mask. But also you get to understand Zemo's aristocratic background. You understand that he's a baron, that his family was royalty, and also that attitude allowed me to be funnier, to be suave, to be arrogant, very aristocratic, wearing this beautiful coat with a little fur. Yeah, especially the sense of humor that I was allowed to do that was very refreshing. Because I always liked that no matter how serious the circumstances are, if you find a lighter tone here and there, if you and especially when there's certain irony and cynicism to it, and the fact that I could always tease these other two and provoke them creates such a nice dynamic in that triangle.
A lot of people may not know that Zemo is one of Marvel's oldest villains. Daniel, why do you think he's endured as an antagonist for some of Marvel's biggest superheroes?
Well, it all comes down to Kevin Feige, the mastermind of the MCU. And I remember that I had my first conversation with him in London before we shot the Civil War, and he was talking about that character. And what I always find so impressive about Kevin and MCU is that they're able to reinvent certain characters, reinterpret them. So it is not exactly the Zemo that we know from the comic books. But they made something very interesting out of the character. And the fact that he is one of the oldest makes me very proud, because this is pop cultural history. I mean, I have that gigantic book from Taschen, these 75 years of the Marvel history. And see, I mean, to have the privilege to play a character which is so iconic and so old, feels really rewarding, you know, and that the fans are responding to it well with that new interpretation of that guy, you know.
One of your co-stars referred to Zemo as being the puppet master of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. How grand is his plan? How big is his end game on the show?
Well, like my character, I like being opaque, mysterious, and enigmatic. So I wouldn't and couldn't answer that question. You will have to see.
How is what's happening on Falcon and the Winter Soldier going to set the stage for what's to come in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
I'm just impressed that, you know, after all these wonderful movies that we have seen, they still, you know, come up with new ideas and constantly keep the bar high. I mean, WandaVision was such an incredible, wonderful, experimental show. And now we're going to a buddy cop adventure, an action thriller. And again, my personal delight was, you know, the boldness and imagination that they had with my character. So it never gets boring. And now I cannot wait to see Loki after watching the trailer. So it's always, you know, they keep on going. I don't know how they do it, but it's mesmerizing.
I mentioned you were one of my favorite villains, but I found myself really falling in love with you last week. Like you said, the humor and the jacket and the style and the private plane. Are you going to break our hearts by the end of the series or what?
I hope so. I hope that at the end of that show, everybody's joining Team Zemo.
Okay, and before I let you go, I do have to ask you, you know, you were in Civil War, one of the greatest Marvel films of all time. Daniel, what is your favorite Marvel project that you've seen just as a fan?
Oh God, that's hard to. This is a tough question and tough choice. I guess for me personally, it all began with Iron Man, because that was the moment when I watched the first one. I fell in love with the MCU, and I was so impressed by the scale, by the action, but also by the incredible performances. I mean, not only Robert Downey, but everybody else. And that was just the moment when I became a fan of the MCU. And back then I wouldn't have thought that I would join the family one day. So, and ever since, you know, the Avengers movies, the Thor, with, you know, my friend Chris Hemsworth that I had the pleasure to work with back in the days. I guess I like them all.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. I cannot wait to see what comes next with Zemo this week. Please don't die.
I appreciate it. Thank you.